Aisling Smith Vance back here again with the interview series for our NLP Global Summit. I am so excited to be joined today by Dr. Naz Parazen, and she is coming to you live from Melbourne, Australia, just down the road, which is wonderful. Our very first Melburnian presenter, in addition to myself and Fran, of course. There are a few more of us that are going to be present at the summit, but it's so wonderful, Dr. Naz, to have you as part of the summit and to be here with you for this interview today.
Thank you for having me, and yeah, I feel grateful, feel blessed to be part of the summit.
Yes, it's wonderful to have you here. And tell us, just, let's give our members and everybody watching here and listening who you are, how you got your start with NLP, and anything else you'd like to add to that too.
Okay, so that's a long story, so I possibly need to make it a little bit brief. So my background is nursing many years ago. So I'm a health professional. So I did clinical nursing in my very first couple of years of my, after graduation. And then I moved to master degree and PhD. So my master degree is in pediatrics, and my PhD that I completed at Deakin University in Melbourne, Australia in 2009. Is focusing on spirituality and chronic illnesses, focusing on diabetes type 2. And at that time, actually, spirituality was not a very commonly used concept in science, to be honest. So now it's really, yeah. So that was my turning point, because since I was a child, I just had a deep side in myself, searching for something, searching for a new meaning. And that was something that, I've been growing up with Rumi, if you are familiar with. So that was my personality. And what I did in, my PhD was only my heart desire. And I wanted to do that. So the turning point was, it gave me a really powerful message that there is a need for something else in our healthcare system, in our health and wellness. So I couldn't do much about it until 6 years ago, that just randomly, but it was actually in my mind all the time. And by the way, I'm a lecturer at uni, and still I'm lecturing more, casually, because, more part-time. And at the time, 6 years ago, yes, I was still doing teaching, and I just came across to life coaching option. I just said, okay, so let's just have a look and see, because I want to do something different that is slightly different than university, because in university you have to follow up the structure. And I enrolled Griffith University for life coaching. But when I actually went a little bit, I just said, I think, what I need most is the NLP part. So that was the time that I got familiar with neuro-linguistic programming in that course. But I didn't complete that course, because I just came across to another training that focused only on NLP. NLP practitioner, NLP master practitioner, and I got it. So when I did the very first NLP practitioner workshop, I loved it. And I thought, that's a gap. That's definitely the gap that I was looking for, because my vision is more health oriented, wellness oriented. And yes, considering that I've done a lot of work on spirituality and health, I designed a questionnaire. I just did research. My questionnaire actually is being used across the world by psychologists, spirituality questionnaire. So then I thought, okay, this is something that is definitely aligned with what I was searching for some years. And yes, so I started the journey. I went through master practitioner and trainer's training, and then completed all of those things in 1 year.
Wow. Wow.
It was 5 years ago that, yeah, I finished my NLP trainers training. And yes, and now I just started to do training and inspire others to join us because our current world needs it, doesn't it?
It sure does. It sure does.
Yeah.
Wow, what a story. I love that the topic of your doctorate, spirituality. And of course when we study master practitioner, there's so much of well, as part of my master practitioner training, we studied the new German medicine, and that was very eye-opening and insightful
Yeah.
to me, specifically because I don't necessarily come from a healthcare background, but I can see how um how trauma, how PTSD, how all of our everything can manifest itself
Yeah.
within you as a
Yeah.
as a pain or a tumor or a lesion or a whatever, and that we can use NLP to support to support our clients in releasing
Yeah.
the root cause, which is so powerful.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and amazing
Absolutely.
that you
Yes.
saw that way back then when it was, because it's still a little bit, a lot of health professionals don't all agree with it.
Mhm.
But for those that do, it's so enlightening to meet them, because it's good.
Yes.
But like, wow.
My favorite actually topic in spirituality, and something that I got from my project as well, and something that is coming from my childhood. My favorite topic is inner self. Inner
Mm,
self. That's, I think, the center
yeah,
of everything. Inner self.
yeah.
And NLP made me absolutely close to inner self. So
Mm,
the concept of inner self actually came to me more tangible, more sensible, more. It was just, it's difficult to express it, but something that I was looking for, and I just, portrayed it as inner wellness. After I did NLP, it was just me, and I just, yeah. So every day, that's a journey. Definitely, it's never ending. But every day, I feel I'm closer to my inner self.
amazing. And I guess that's the journey that we're all on, isn't it? Is to do that and to have, positive daily routines, positive daily habits that we
Yeah.
practice, that we implement, and and that we can, empower ourselves as
Mm-hmm.
as coaches, as practitioners, as trainers, so that we vibrate at the right state to help people with where they are, and we I'm
Yeah.
doing so protecting ourselves and protecting our own positive energy and our inner state,
Yeah.
and being able to also obviously work with our clients. Wow. So okay, moving on to my next question. I would love
Sure.
if you would share with our members what they will learn from your presentation at the NLP Global Summit.
Okay, so my presentation actually is focusing on the new program I created, and I called it Heart-Based NLP.
Mm,
Because after I did NLP, and as I mentioned before, it made me absolutely closer to my inner side. That's why, my business also is called Inner Wellness, because it's all about inner. After all those, experiences and stories, I felt that when I am connected to my heart, things actually going way smoother and deeper. So I just did more and more practice, and I've done some studies with HeartMath Institute, and I realized, oh, heart intelligence is an
mm,
amazing concept that is kind of, I think, a gap in NLP. Not a gap, but it could be a great addition
mm,
to NLP, because in NLP we definitely work beautifully with language. We work beautifully with the five senses, with connecting to the nervous system, uh, subconscious mind or unconscious mind, conscious mind, heart. needs to be here somewhere.
Such a good
And
point.
yeah, and I just, realized that heart is the most powerful source here for channeling all of these connections. When I used myself, I just got really surprised. And I said, yes, that's it. So that's why, my program includes NLP and heart coherence together.
Yeah.
And in my presentation, I'm just talking a little bit about heart coherence, and I'm talking a little bit about NLP and how we can actually get the better results when we make the heart coherence as well, and why heart coherence is important. What is it, and why is it important? So these are all, the topics that I'm covering in my presentation.
That is so interesting. I can't wait to learn more about heart coherence and to really kind of get an insight into that, because as as an NLP trainer as well, we are always looking to upskill, and I'm just so excited to be a student as well as a presenter at this summit and a host.
Me too, yeah.
Just to be a student and to listen and watch and ask questions and find out more about the presentations and about the, all of the different modalities, because NLP was created, as we all know, back in the 80s, and there's been so many additional work done in the field that like what you're doing, and research and adding things to it by highly intelligent professionals just like yourself that are adding more tools to our already massive toolbox that we have. And speaking of which, this is my little bonus question, but I'll pop it in here. What is your favorite NLP tool?
The techniques. I love anchoring, and I use anchoring onto my heart. And when I use anchoring, into my heart space, I can just directly, effortlessly connect to my core heart intelligence. And yes, so definitely you can use anchoring for, everything. What I actually usually, share with my students. So this is what I'm doing. I'm anchoring on my heart, but you feel free to anchor, but they usually choose heart as well. And yes, because so I think anchoring is one of the most powerful for therapeutic aspects and changing habits, changing behaviors. However, the other side of the NLP, which is so powerful, is about communication. So that's why NLP is everywhere, to be honest, actually. And it's just in leadership, management, therapy, health, wellness. It's every education.
So, in lecturing. I bet you find yourself using it quite a lot while you're lecturing students in nursing.
Absolutely. Yeah. Another thing that I was going actually just to touch on that, it's just building rapport. Building rapport is the very important part of NLP. And we talk a lot about, we talk a lot about building rapport, However, you possibly cannot go deep enough to building rapport if you don't do NLP. So, because, and that actually helped me for my own profession as well. I just connect now beautifully with my students, beautifully, and I really enjoy. Every single time I leave class, I feel it's love in my heart and in my students' heart. And that's exactly what I want.
Fabulous. Oh, that's so lovely. Really, really nice to hear. And it is like, so, some people, but I work in this field, I don't want to become a coach. Why would I study NLP? Well, as you've just said, it's so applicable to everybody anywhere. You just need to take from it what's relevant to you in that moment, and you know, in this part of your life, at this time of your life. You could go back and study NLP 5 years later and find that there's a whole set of different tools that are relevant to the next stage of your life, you know. And once you progress through this, because we have overflowing toolkits by the end of an NLP practitioner and master practitioner training, of course. Wow. Tell me, why was it important for you to be part of our NLP Global Summit?
Just connect to lovely people like you and connect to everyone across the globe. I believe everything is about connection. Connectedness is another core in my spirituality, and I believe that every single human is a relational being. It's just, we are wired, you know, as connected humans. So yes, connection, and just giving my message, spreading my message to the world. And yeah, I'm part of humanity, and this is what I know and what I want to share with my lovely, I don't know, human. What should we
fellow
say?
Human beings, really.
Fellow human beings, exactly. Yeah. That's what I was looking for. Yeah, absolutely. And this is what I believe that we need to do more and more for making.
It's been a tough couple of years for a lot of people, Dr. Naz, and you know, I think it's important for us to look at the other side of it and say, how can we, as professionals in this space, help people to reframe, to look at their life differently, to go out the other side and, you know, restart their lives in a positive way, focusing on the outcomes that they want to get from their lives moving forward. And I think that, you know, that it's we are blessed.
You used actually the key word right now. Sorry, just because I didn't want to miss it. Outcome. NLP is very much outcome oriented. And that's actually one of the biggest changes happened to me. So as a health professional, that I have spent a lot of, you know, I have spent most of my life learning, teaching, achieving, you know, different qualifications. NLP empowered me to get to my outcome. It was really powerful, so powerful just to get me in. Yeah. And another thing that I just grabbed from your speech was learning. Learning is a constant process, and it's never ending. Actually, the more I learn, the more I feel I need to learn.
Yeah, it's so true. And I think, you know, that's the one thing. There's so many doctors in this field. I'm actually quite inspired to go back to university and do my doctorate in psychology, and to bring it back into this field.
Yeah, do it. Yeah.
Because it's just that having this base knowledge, and as a trainer of NLP and the lives that you impact, and how you're bringing this knowledge to you know, to humans, as you said, and sharing it together in these conversations, and learning like the application of, like, some people, and it grieves me, Naz, because some people study NLP and they just don't know what to do, so they just leave it, and they don't apply it. Now we always say
that's
for
a shame.
students,
Yeah,
once you learn it, you can't unlearn. So you will begin to integrate what you've learned into your everyday life, and you do, and you will. But it's, yeah, I think it's inspiring to see the backgrounds of people, and where people are coming from, and how, like you, people are redeveloping NLP into new areas to help people from their sector, in their niche, in this niche that's so specific for people, you know, whatever it might be. And I think, you know, that's the future of NLP, is looking at, as opposed to just the broad brush stroke of NLP, being like, here are all these tools and techniques. It's more like, okay, how can we specifically apply this in this field for this people, so to get this outcome, this result for this client,
Yes,
because we know
absolutely.
that you can, and it is that specific.
Yes,
But
absolutely. And another important thing that maybe, audience possibly love to know is most programs that we have currently, because we have actually, very different programs now in psychology, which is great, which is amazing. But most programs have NLP inside. Maybe they don't, yes, maybe they don't, I don't know, acknowledge it, unfortunately, sometimes. But when you go and have a look at the program, it's NLP, or it does have NLP, as a very big part of it. So my point is NLP is a foundation. It's really a foundation. It's a science. It's not just, it's a foundation for any, I think, not any, but most of other, psychological and behavioral change programs. So another way that you can use NLP is when you learn NLP deeply and you just, going through it more and more, you can create your own program using NLP. That's another, so it's a foundation. It's like that. I don't know. It's like that when you, when we talk, for example, in my area, when we talk about person-centered care is a foundation for healthcare that can be involved with so many other things. So similar to NLP. NLP is a foundation. Leadership programs, for example, we fail a lot in leadership because we don't know how to communicate. We don't know the very core science of communicating with the language, linguistics, and nervous system. So so a lot of indications. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Well, I am very excited to listen to your presentation at the NLP Global Summit and to learn more about how to integrate the heart into my NLP practice. And so for anybody out there who is thinking about joining, this could be your call to action to get out there and grab the premium pass, grab the VIP pass so that you can watch back on these presentations, because there are going to be so many nuggets of gold. You could watch one presentation a week for the rest of the year and just dissect it, take everything that you can from it, and you'll still, like, this is a whole education in NLP, and it's going to change your life. Dr. Naz, some parting words. What would you say to anybody who's thinking about registering and joining us at the NLP Global Summit?
Oh, that's a big question. Let's just start with a quote from Rumi, because I'm just very passionate. So, you are not a drop in the ocean, you are entire ocean in a drop. So just trust yourself. Everything is within, and come with your inner source. You will get surprised how much you get out of this learning, out of this. When you come present and connected with your own source, trust, come, learn, and change the world.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. That's so awesome. Well, you're changing the world. I'm changing the world. All of us, we're all changing the world one step at a time, one client at a time, one student at a time. Dr. Naz Parsa, we are so excited to have you as part of the speaking panel at the NLP Global Summit 2022. Thank you so much for spending your time with me this afternoon for this interview, and I cannot wait to see your presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and I cannot actually to listen to another amazing presenters too.